On Oscar Eve, the starlet who famously kissed Elvis, but who then turned Tinseltown away. She's about to be back on the red carpet, but where was she?
At 86 years old, Dolores Hart finally opens up about her life, her choices, and the truth behind her unforgettable connection with Elvis Presley. For decades, her story has remained one of Hollywood's most intriguing mysteries. A rising star who seemed destined for greatness, only to walk away from fame at the very height of her career. To many, she is remembered as the young actress who shared the screen with the king of rock and roll in his early films, capturing hearts with her charm and poise. To others, she is a woman who made one of the boldest decisions ever seen in the entertainment world, leaving behind fortune, recognition, and glamour for a life of quiet devotion. Today, as she reflects on her extraordinary journey, Dolores Hart offers an honest glimpse into the moments that defined her, from the bright lights of Hollywood to the silence of the Abbey. Dolores Hart was born as Dolores Hicks on October 20th, 1938 in Chicago, Illinois. Her childhood was shaped by a strong Catholic upbringing and the warmth of a close-knit family who encouraged her creativity. Her parents instilled discipline, compassion, and a deep sense of morality in her, values that would remain constant throughout her life, even as she stepped into the unpredictable world of Hollywood. From an early age, Dolores was drawn to the arts. Her curiosity for performance and storytelling developed naturally, encouraged by a family who recognized her talent and believed in her potential. She attended Mundelein College, a liberal arts college for women in Chicago, where she excelled, not only in academics, but also began to nurture her artistic passions. Her education offered her a balance of intellectual growth and creative freedom, preparing her for a path that combined talent with purpose. Those who knew Dolores during her youth described her as both graceful and grounded. She had a natural elegance, but what set her apart was her sincerity and kindness. These qualities would later translate seamlessly to the screen, where audiences would be captivated not just by her beauty, but by the depth and warmth she brought to every role. This foundation of faith, family, and discipline became the compass that guided her, even when fame threatened to lead her astray. Long before Hollywood, Dolores Hart was already someone destined to leave a mark, not only through her acting, but through the values that defined her. Dolores Hart's entry into Hollywood was as swift as it was remarkable. After completing her studies, she signed a contract with Paramount Pictures, one of the most prestigious studios of the time. Almost overnight, the young woman from Chicago was thrust into the heart of the entertainment industry, where glamour, opportunity, and challenge collided. Her screen debut came with Loving You in 1957, where she starred opposite none other than Elvis Presley. The chemistry between the two was undeniable, and Dolores quickly found herself in the spotlight. Audiences were charmed not only by her beauty, but also by her ability to project sincerity and vulnerability. She was not just another Hollywood starlet. She had a natural authenticity that made her performances resonate with people. Critics praised her poise and charisma, and within a short time, she became recognized as one of the most promising young talents of her generation. Hollywood at the time was filled with rising stars, but Dolores stood apart. She had a rare blend of innocence and depth, sophistication and warmth, which allowed her to shine in both romantic and dramatic roles. Her career quickly gathered momentum, and it became clear that she was destined for significant success. By the late 1950s, Dolores Hart was no longer just a newcomer. She was a rising star, admired by audiences and respected by her peers. Dolores Hart's career reached new heights as she continued to land leading roles alongside some of the most celebrated names in Hollywood. Her second film with Elvis Presley, King Creole, 1958, solidified her reputation as a talented actress capable of holding her own against larger-than-life personalities. The on-screen connection between Hart and Presley fueled public curiosity, with many speculating about the depth of their relationship beyond the cameras. While their bond was rooted in mutual respect and professional admiration, it was undeniable that Dolores left a lasting impression on Elvis, and he on her. In 1960, she starred in the teen romantic comedy Where the Boys Are. The film captured the spirit of a new generation, blending youthful optimism with the uncertainties of changing social values. Dolores's role struck the perfect balance of charm and sophistication, winning the hearts of both critics and audiences. Her performance highlighted her versatility, proving she could effortlessly transition from romantic roles to comedic ones, all while maintaining her unique screen presence. But Hart was not content with being typecast. In 1961, she took on the role of St. Clair in Francis of Assisi. This role was a departure from the light-hearted comedies of her past, requiring her to embody spiritual devotion, inner strength, and moral conviction. Her performance demonstrated a maturity and depth that resonated deeply with audiences, while also reflecting her own growing interest in spiritual themes. Dolores's career peak showcased a remarkable versatility. She could be playful and charming in a romantic comedy, sincere and passionate in a drama, and deeply moving in a role rooted in faith. Each performance added new dimensions to her reputation, making her one of Hollywood's most promising actresses. Critics admired her ability to blend emotional authenticity with elegance, while fans adored her grace and charisma. While Dolores Hart's star continued to rise, she began experiencing an inner conflict that few could see from the outside. Hollywood had given her fame, recognition, and financial security, but it could not quiet the deeper questions stirring within her soul. The turning point came during the making of Francis of Assisi. Playing St. Clair forced Dolores to reflect on the meaning of faith, sacrifice, and devotion. She sketched images of St. Francis during filming, not simply as a pastime, but as a form of spiritual reflection. These moments revealed an introspective side that had always been a part of her, but which now began to demand more attention. She started questioning what she truly wanted in life. Was it the fleeting glamour of Hollywood or something more enduring? Though she continued to act, the seeds of a new path had been planted. The contrast between the noise of fame and the quiet pull of faith grew sharper with each passing year. Dolores had been engaged at one point, preparing for a future that seemed both stable and socially expected. Yet in her heart, she knew she was being called towards something different, something that could not be ignored. The idea of leaving Hollywood was not yet fully formed, but the longing for a deeper spiritual life was becoming impossible to dismiss. This inner conflict was invisible to most, but it marked the beginning of a journey that would ultimately redefine Dolores Hart's life and legacy. By the early 1960s, Dolores Hart continued to appear in notable projects, but the tone of her career had shifted. In 1962, she starred in The Inspector, a dramatic adaptation that allowed her to portray a character of emotional complexity, navigating themes of love, morality, and resilience. The film earned critical praise and even a Golden Globe nomination, further cementing her status as a serious actress. In 1963, she appeared in the TV western The Virginian, playing Kathy Maywood in the episode The Mountain of the Sun. This role, in which she portrayed a Catholic missionary risking her life to help others, was deeply symbolic. It mirrored the faith, conviction, and selflessness that were becoming increasingly central to her own inner journey. Her last film, Come Fly With Me, also released in 1963, marked the official close of her Hollywood chapter. By then, Dolores was quietly preparing to step away from the industry forever. In 1963, at the height of her career, Dolores Hart stunned Hollywood by announcing she was leaving the film industry to join a Benedictine monastery. For many, the decision was incomprehensible. She was young, beautiful, and successful. Why abandon it all? But for Dolores, the choice was clear. She felt an undeniable calling to serve God and live a life of prayer and devotion. She entered the Abbey of Regina Laudis in Bethlehem, Connecticut, embracing a path of simplicity, humility, and service. The announcement shocked the entertainment world, with newspapers across the country covering the story of the actress _nun. Far from a retreat, it was an act of courage. Dolores had chosen to follow her deepest convictions, proving that fulfillment does not always lie in fame or fortune. Her choice became an inspiration to many, a testament to the power of listening to one's inner voice. Within the monastery, Dolores Hart continued to distinguish herself through leadership and devotion. In 2001, she was named Prioress of the Abbey of Regina Laudis, a position of significant responsibility. She oversaw daily operations, guided the spiritual lives of fellow nuns, and helped preserve the abbey's traditions of prayer, worship, and artistic expression. Her leadership reflected the same grace and discipline she had once brought to her acting career. She became not just a spiritual figure, but also a symbol of integrity, someone who had the courage to walk away from glamour for a higher purpose. Her story has since been shared through interviews, documentaries, and her own memoir, allowing new generations to understand the depth of her journey. Dolores Hart is remembered not only as the actress who kissed Elvis Presley on screen, but as a woman whose faith defined her destiny. Dolores Hart's life is a remarkable testament to the power of conviction. She had everything Hollywood could offer: fame, success, beauty, and opportunity, but chose to leave it behind for something greater. Her journey from actress to nun stands as one of the most extraordinary transformations in entertainment history. Even today, she is remembered not just for her films, but for the courage it took to follow her heart. To many, she represents the balance between worldly achievement and spiritual purpose, a reminder that true success lies not in applause or recognition, but in living a life aligned with one's deepest values. At 86, Dolores Hart continues to inspire people across generations. Her story is one of grace, bravery, and devotion, a legacy far richer than any Hollywood career alone could provide. Of all the chapters in Dolores Hart's life, none has captured more curiosity than her connection with Elvis Presley. Their on-screen chemistry in Loving You and King Creole sparked endless speculation. Fans were convinced their relationship extended beyond the cameras. Yet Dolores has always maintained that their bond was one of friendship, mutual respect, and shared admiration. In later interviews, Dolores revealed the truth. Elvis was kind, gentle, and surprisingly shy in private moments. She spoke of him not as the untouchable king of rock and roll, but as a young man navigating the pressures of fame. While there was undeniable affection between them, their relationship never became romantic in the way the public imagined. Dolores respected Elvis deeply, but her heart was already searching for something beyond the glamour of Hollywood. She often recalled how Elvis treated her with courtesy and warmth, making her feel comfortable even in the chaos of fame. For Dolores, these memories symbolized not just the start of her career, but also the kindness of a man whose own life was often misunderstood. By finally sharing this truth, Dolores put to rest decades of speculation, showing that their bond was rooted not in scandal, but in genuine friendship. When Dolores Hart chose the monastery over Hollywood, the world reacted with disbelief. Fans could not understand how someone so young and successful could leave behind a promising career. Newspapers sensationalized the story, describing it as the actress who kissed Elvis giving it all up for God. Letters poured into the Abbey, some filled with admiration, others with confusion. Many saw her decision as a waste of talent, while others viewed it as the ultimate act of courage. In a society where fame and success were celebrated above all else, Dolores's choice was nothing short of revolutionary. Her decision sparked conversations about purpose, faith, and what truly brings fulfillment. Decades later, people still Look back on that moment as an extraordinary reminder that life's greatest calling is not always the one that comes with applause. Life inside the Abbey of Regina Laudis was a stark contrast to Hollywood. Instead of cameras and scripts, Dolores's days were filled with prayer, service, and community work. She rose early each morning, dedicating herself to the rhythms of monastic life, chanting the divine office, engaging in manual labor, and supporting the artistic and spiritual growth of her community. What surprised many was that Dolores did not abandon the arts completely. Within the Abbey, she encouraged creativity, helping to nurture theater, music, and even sculpture as ways of expressing devotion. She believed that art and faith were not opposites but companions, both capable of touching the soul and elevating the human spirit. Her leadership roles allowed her to mentor younger nuns and guide visitors seeking solace or inspiration. To those who met her, Dolores was a figure of serenity, blending Hollywood grace with monastic humility. In 2013, Dolores Hart published her memoir, The Ear of the Heart, an actress's journey from Hollywood to holy vows. The book offered a candid look into her extraordinary life, from her early days in film to her transformation within the Abbey. Readers were fascinated by her honesty, her warmth, and her ability to bridge the glamorous world of cinema with the quiet devotion of monastic life. The memoir gained widespread praise, bringing her story to a new generation. Documentaries such as God is the Bigger Elvis also helped shine a light on her journey, earning an Academy Award nomination and reaffirming her place in both Hollywood and spiritual history. Dolores Hart's legacy extends far beyond the silver screen. To film enthusiasts, she remains the actress who starred alongside Elvis and captured audiences with her elegance. To people of faith, she represents devotion, sacrifice, and the courage to follow a higher calling. To countless admirers, she embodies the idea that true greatness lies not in stardom, but in authenticity and purpose. Her story continues to inspire actors, spiritual seekers, and anyone facing the choice between worldly success and personal conviction. Dolores Hart proved that it is possible to live two extraordinary lives, one under Hollywood's bright lights and another in the quiet radiance of faith.